Take 4. We'll see if it works. Tried earlier this morning. Facebook kept going down. Wouldn't take the video, and my server is right there. So maybe it wasn't meant to be. I don't know, but I'm going to give it a go again. Let's see if I can center the phone. There we go. There we go. So transmitting today on, not meant to be, maybe it just paused again. So we'll see. Friday, 9/11, Venus Day. Today is a day of remembrance. The little story that I have about this, I was in Boston, or in the Boston area, on 9/11, 2001. And on that day, I was getting ready to fly out of Logan on the same flight that left that morning and didn't make it to San Diego. It went into the Twin Tower. So I was scheduled that very next day on the same flight. So if I had left to go on my business trip one day early, I wouldn't have made it. And so it was very interesting that 2 of those planes came out of Logan, and I was scheduled on that flight the very next day. I was then on the first flight out of Logan when they started flying again, coming to Lafayette, Louisiana, on a flight with all the relatives from the crew of the American Airlines planes that went into the Twin Towers. So I was flying on the airplane with all the family members. So I have a lot of memories from that time, and really close to my heart, because if you don't know this, I am from New York, Long Island, Brooklyn, that area. And anyhow, so I wanted to say today is also a celebration day. I have a 7-year-old granddaughter, Windsor, and it's her birthday today on 9/11. So I give honor to that. But I'm doing this 30-day challenge for myself to do 30 days of Facebook Live. And the reason is because we live in this country for free speech. And right now, there's a lot of free speech that's not being free anymore. And there's certain words that you can't say, or you get tagged and demonetized. Your platform's taken down. Now, like, I don't have a flat platform, and I'm not going to probably say any of those words, but it's an interesting time we're in. So anyhow, I'm super excited to be transmitting today for this is the 3rd day out of 30, so I'm going to do it every day for 30 days. And whatever comes up into my heart and mind. So this morning, I was ready to broadcast, and then it just kept going down and kept going down and kept going down. And I was like, okay, should I just give up, And I'm like, no, I'll do it again tomorrow, this afternoon. So here I am. So I thought, it's interesting how synchronicities work when you're in alignment to your highest essence. And if you're following something that is not dictated outside of your own sovereignty. And that word is an interesting word. But if you are in sovereignty, then you're going to be able to follow a different clock rather than the days of the week. Week and week. If you think about W-E-A-K and W-E-E-K. I like to say I'm out of time, because it doesn't really matter what day of the week I'm in, because I'm not going into that week. I'm in strength. So if I do a little bit of this every day and tell you what Friday is in the Gregorian calendar, we have these days. Monday, well, that's Moon Day. That's Sunday is the Sun Day, right? So of course it's the Creator, the Sun. We all come from all, the 0. We all have all of the numbers are in the 0. Then we have Sunday, which is the first day of the week. And then we have Monday, Moon Day, Tuesday. So Moon Day is number 2. Tuesday is Mars Day. That's number 9. And then we have Wednesday in the middle of the week. That's number 5. And if you think about number 5, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're like a 5-pointed star. So that's Mercury's day. Mercury is 5. So we have all these planets within us. So I'm giving you the code of nature. All the planets are in our galaxy and all the planets are in our bodies. And they control, they have different functions in our bodies and different, organs and, fluids and all of this. And if we're in alignment, our body is in a natural healed state. And so if we're working without being weak and we're actually in our cosmic clock, cosmic calendar, then we're aligned into the natural law of the universe, which is made from the sacred geometry and all of the things that come from our sacred platonic solids and all of our 4 elements. We're made up 4 elements and then plus another one, ether. So we have our earth, our water, our air, and our fire. And we have ether, and we're all made of these elements. And basically, we're all made of stardust, planets and stardust. So, if we align to be our strength, we're not going to be weak anymore. So we go to Thursday. After Wednesday comes Thursday, and that's Jupiter Day. That's number 3. It's an expansion day. So yesterday was a super expansion day for me. And today we come into payday. And payday is Friday. And so it's no accident that people get paid on the divine feminine day. So Venus is Friday. And she has many names in mythology, and one of them's Inanna. And the Christed consciousness actually comes from Venus. And she is like sometimes a morning star and sometimes a evening star. But definitely the number 6 and all of that goes into 6. So if you took 2 triangles, and that's not a good triangle. Let's see, there's a triangle. And you have an upward triangle and a downward triangle. And if you put the 2 triangles together, you've got the Star of David. And that basically is the basic building blocks of a Merkaba, or a sacred geometry structure. So today is Friday, Venus Day, and the number 6. And so for today, for Venus Day, instead of having it be the true payday, is that the divine feminine and the divine masculine are a unity with each other inside of our own bodies. Because I, as a woman, have 75% female hormones and 25% masculine hormones. And some people maybe even have a little bit more, in the balance. I can't say exactly what my hormone balance is, but I present as a female. And those presenting as a male would have 75% masculine hormones, and they do have some of the feminine hormones. So in order for us to come into this unity consciousness, which I'm seeing C-O-M-M, and then if you put unity, community is us being in unity in communication. So in order for me to have any access to bringing the gifts into the world, I have to come into wholeness. So wholeness has everything in it. It has day and night. It has male and female. It has anything that you can divide or separate, because without the night, there's no day. Day and night go together. So in our duality universe, in order for us to have creation, we have to have opposites. And instead of fighting the opposites, why don't we find unity in the opposites? And so that's kind of what my presentations are going to be on every day for 30 days. Woohoo! So I wanted to say, if you're still here, thank you so much, Byron, for coming. And Sandra, you were awesome last night. Your reading was very touching with that childlike the sisters, and that was a beautiful poem. And Lisa and Linda, good to see you, my star sister. So anyhow, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to share this with you. So it's, sometimes I'm like, I don't know, for 30 days, maybe I'm not going to have everything to talk about all the time. Sometimes I might have a poem that I'll read that's mine. And sometimes I'll just like maybe bring an idea up or something, but it's a practice of free speech. Living in a country that I can do this and honoring it. So, all right, I just opened the page, and then this is this vision book from Ken Carey. I read this a lot. It seems to be right on. And Ken Carey was a person, he died pretty recently, about 3 years ago. And he wrote these books back in the 70s, 80s. And a lot of them are really visionary. I mean, he writes about some of these things in this book that wasn't available. Like there was no internet. There was, really, that much internet compared to what we have now. There was no social media. There was no Facebook Live. And I remember reading one of these books. There's quite a few that this is another one. And he was actually describing what Facebook Live was. And I remember being at Standing Rock when all these people were using Facebook Live to bring the news, the real truth of what was going on up in North Dakota regarding the pipeline. And so I was reading this, I was like, oh my goodness, we're all actually able to be our own news channel, bringing in our own experiences. And that was like, probably, how could we have even thought that could happen? 10 years ago? So I can imagine what 10 years from now is going to be now that we have quantum computing and et cetera, et cetera. And if we all turned on to our inner, we are amazing technology. If you think about what we can heal, what our bodies are doing every day. I mean, the 10 trillion cells inside of our own bodies that are like energy producing cells that create this amazing, gift that we all are on the planet. So anyhow, I'm going to read this because I opened it up and I thought, okay, so wherever it opens up, I guess that's what I'm going to do today. So here we go. It's called The Sacred Heart, Chapter 3. Do you feel the inner pulsation of your heart? Now just put your hand on your heart. It's in the center of your chest. And the heart is got as much neural pathways as your brain and your gut. So your gut and your brain are electric or electro. They run on like electricity. But your heart is run with magnetism. Like there is another kind of frequency in the heart. So I'm going to share this from my teacher, from my lineage. He came down from the mountains in the Caro High Mountains, and he came down to say that the Caro people in the high Andes of Peru, and a lot of the cosmology from the ancient cultures of, Uluru, from the first people in Australia, the Aboriginals, to all of these ancient cultures know that we have to come from our heart. And right now in our Western society, we're coming away from our head, our intellect, and they said, okay, so he came down and he said, I have to give this vision. And it was because he saw the eagle and condor flying together. And in the northern hemisphere, we're like the eagle and they're the condor. And they saw that we need to fly together, the eagle and the condor. And in South America, they're very connected to the land, to Pachamama, to the heart, to everything heart-focused. So they're not that into their minds, they're into the heart. And the heart has so much knowledge and so much connection to the innate, connected to the waters, connected to the plants, connected to the minerals. So he came back and he said, my prayer for the world is that our hearts become so full, like when you get so much love in there and that it just bursts. And from that bursting, it goes into your head. That informs your vision. And then that goes down into your gut and the lower part of your body and your legs, and that informs your action. So that's the prayer that I have, is that we can come out of our heads and stop dividing and separating each other and stop making stop polling. Stop polling. I'm part of you, you're part of me, all is self. So I'm going to read this because the heart is the secret. All right, so do you feel your inner pulsation of your heart? It is the one sacred heart at the core of all life that you feel. One, pulsing within the many. The many come to eternal life through the knowing of the one within. We have this heart that's beating within our body, but it's connected to the eternal life through the one within. So if you're not connected to your one within and you think that the Christed consciousness is outside, you might want to just take a really good look at the miracle of who you are, because this is a miracle. And you're not actually choosing to breathe yourself, but creation is breathing you. So I want to honor this wisdom of this first paragraph. And I'm going to read it one more time because it was pretty good. Do you feel the inner pulsation of your heart? It is the one sacred heart at the core of all life that you feel. One, pulsating with many. The many come to eternal life through the knowing the one within. At the core of your being, I invite you to know the experiences of eternal peace. What stands between you and this experience is not training, but willingness. The willingness to acknowledge all of your fears, all of your human hurts and sorrows, all of the dark places in your heart, and offer them all to me. Not me personally, but to the one that's within you. And I'm going to pause for a second because I think this is a really important point to make today, is that we're all in this place where we're working through a lot of fears. And I think, as far as I can speak for myself, one of my biggest fears is death. And one of my other biggest fears would be death of dying alone. And a lot of people are transitioning right now alone. And they don't have to be alone. But we have to honor that this thing that's going on in this planet right now is an opening of this tremendous wall of grief, that we do not have a structure and a place to receive this, because through grief becomes a heart opening. And right now, we're not able to hold that. And I'm going to say, there's certain people here, I know there's a person here listening that does do that for people, and I have a death doula sister that's assisting people through transitioning and recapitulation so that they can prepare to transition with a clear and loving heart, without anything that's holding them out of forgiveness. Forgiveness is the key to the open heart. So, to know peace, I'm reading from the book again. To know peace, to learn what I have to teach, you have only to unlearn. In the removal of your fears, you shall come to my presence. Come to me, therefore, you who hunger and thirst, you who struggle, you who long for a better way, you who feel burdened and oppressed. Come into me, all of you who are afflicted and who feel inequality, injustice. Bring me all your troubles, holding nothing back, acknowledging all that you feel. I do not judge, I welcome all. Offer to my sacred heart, where the fire of my love burns eternal. I will take your sorrow and return wisdom. I will take your tears and return a blessing. In me burns the flame of eternal love that has burned since before the days of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, the flame that has burned since before the days of Adam and Eve, before the world as you know it, my love is. And long after this world is forgotten, I love. I have loved you into being, and I call you now. Rise up, my love, my human one. Come away from your ancient gods. 10,000 petty fears have enshrined themselves to the gods of the fallen world. Throughout your history, they have been fed fat on human sacrifice, drawing humans into subhuman states where consciousness diminished, perception grew foggy, and matters became grave. Their era of domination is ending now, and I will have you see the situation plainly. It is not the survival in the interests of any human being to fear. It is not in the survival interest of any human being to fear, nor to behave in a manner that causes fear in others. I invite you to see clearly the source of your oppression, the source of every human evil. Let fear stand behind you, naked and exposed. Join me for the sacred space of 1 hour and let us negate fear, absorbing it into our love, into what I am, into what you are, into the peace of eternal being. I'm just going to read one more paragraph. I ask no one to pretend that they do not fear. I ask only that all fear be given to me. Do not push away what troubles the heart, for in doing so you keep yourself at arm's length from life and healing. Accept how you feel, and in that acceptance, release your heart to me. Let go of all that troubles the spirit. Accept the relaxation that allows the currents of my love to flow through all that you are, healing, refreshing, and blessing. Whoa, you guys fell off the table. So that was really falling off the table was a powerful finish to that reading. So anyhow, this is Ken Carey and From Vision. And this is not I wouldn't say I'm a very spiritual person, but I'm not religious. I do believe that creator resides within if I can stop my programming and stop the things that I'm choosing to separate myself from. So if I don't deserve the love, I can't even release, into this creator, and I can see how much the world is complaining and shaming and guilting. And it's like, oh, it's there's so many opinions. So many opinions. And like, is anyone really listening? If we had less program, I had started, I have to give gratitude to my father, George Edward Henderson. I like to give gratitude to my ancestors. But he was a thinker and a person that thought out of the box. I guess you could say, before there was even a name for conspiracy theorists, my dad was one of those. He was always questioning, like, why is that? Like, do you just going to take the story or are you going to question it? So I'm like, am I going to take, why are all these things getting censored? I wonder why. Let's ask more questions. Instead of coming up with these answers, because I realized that every answer that I ever came up with was a thing that maybe my mom or dad had given to me. I grew up in a pretty liberal, northern kind of place. And I was kind of one of those liberal people. And then I was like asking the questions. And my father always asked these questions. And I was like, oh, well, that's really interesting. I'm not either of those things that people are dividing with. I'm not pulled. I'm a unity person. I'm a community person. I'm a person that is a harmonizer of frequencies, not a divider. So I'm the person that will be asking more questions rather than telling you what my dogma is. And boy, did I have some dogma. Because, I came from a very intellectual Very, very, very smart family. I would say, like, really smart family. I wouldn't say I was the smartest one in the bunch, but they were pretty smart family. And I would say that more the liberal thing. And I'm not either now, because I just started to like ask some questions, and I went down into saying, well, I wonder why the ratio, like race and ratio, what is that about? Because if I was coming from this planet, and this is not my first life, I don't believe it is, and I maybe even have off-world stuff that I'm made from, stars, who knows? But for sure, I came from the first person, because all of us are on the earth for a long time. So we have our original ancestors, but we've been all over. So I'm going to say to you, I belong to the tribe of the English, Irish, Scottish lineage. So the Celtic lineage, you can see in my skin toning and everything like that. That's this lineage of my DNA now. But before they were Irish and Scottish, they came from somewhere else, because there was this whole land mass of people moving through in different places. So if the Aboriginals and maybe Africa were the first peoples, so I have it all. I have all the wholeness. I have all the races. I have all of it. But right now I'm presenting as a person of a United States citizen, but an immigrant, never really belonging, because I'm not from here, am I? I'm not from this Cajun land, but how many people are really from this beautiful Acadiana? They also emigrated, and they were also kicked out, or they had some kind of exile. So unless you're a first person, maybe you're an Aboriginal on Uluru, that you could say you belonged there. But maybe we all are from the first people. If you believe the Adam and Eve story, we're all from Adam and Eve. So how can we divide and separate through races or ratios or political poles? So I say to you, like, I come in bearing the gifts of unity consciousness, and harmonizing. We all have 4 elements. We all need water to live. We all need the earth to live. We all need air to live. We all come from the same Platonic solids in the sacred geometry. And we all have a unifying heart. And I remember there was a study, and HeartMath did this study. They have these little towers all over the world. And before 9/11, before those twin towers went down, there was a coherence on the planet where before the planes hit, there was a dip in the wave, because we as a human species and our hearts that are in sync with each other knew that that was going to happen. And it all showed up on this graph. And you can look this up. It's not, you look up HeartMath, and you can look up 9/11, and you can see that this is actually the case. We are all in one heart, and we have to come through as one species. I'm a Homo sapien sapien. I have 23 chromosomes. I am waking up to my divinity within, of the human heart that's in all hearts. And I share this story with you today on this celebration of life, and I'm so grateful you came, and I'm so grateful. And I think I'm going to end this, and every day I'm going to end it like this. So whoever's watching this, if we all did this to each other and with each other, and I'm going to look at you eye to eye, and I'm going to say, this is Ho'oponopono from Hawaii. I am so sorry. I am so sorry that sometimes I judged you and I did not see you as another part of me, as a united heart. I am so sorry that I didn't see you and that I didn't let you into my heart. I'm so sorry I judged you. I'm so sorry I wasn't kind. I am so sorry I didn't listen. Please, please forgive me. And I say that to myself. Please forgive me. I knew not what I did, but now I do. I'll do what I can, but please forgive me. Thank you. Thank you so much. I love you. I love you so much, and I love me so much. May we all have a little bit more love in our hearts and let our hearts crack open so that this heart can be so big it bursts, rains down on our vision, our head, our uniting our left and right hemispheres into our pineal gland, into this beautiful, balanced center that then informs our walk or action in the world that we have to walk. May you find love in your heart today. I love you all.